10 insane cursed horror videos that still haunt you at midnight forever. It was a dark and stormy night when the stories started swirling, tales of cursed videos that taunted those brave enough to watch them. They say that you can hear whispers in the shadows, and if you dare to click play at midnight, your screen 1T just flicker at LL reveal horrors that will never leave your mind. One video, they claimed, brandished static images of abandoned buildings. While set against an eerie soundtrack, it made you feel cold and exposed, as if something was lurking just outside your window waiting. And then, there was the infamous drowning pool. It featured distorted faces voicing silent screams. Those who watched it said they could hear water trickling in the background, soft at first, but becoming a deafening roar. Viewers reported waking up the next day, drenched in sweat, hearts racing, feeling like they had just escaped a near-death experience. No one who saw it stayed unaffected. They claimed that in the quiet hours, they still felt the sensation of water pooling beneath them. A viral sensation. The Forgotten Doll took on a life of its own. Its flickering images of a broken, laughing doll sent chills straight down the spines of countless viewers. Some reported glimpses of movement behind them, shadows darting just out of view. A lump formed in many throats as they replayed the footage, hoping for closure but finding only more questions. Did that doll really just blink? The question reverberated through their minds, like a haunting echo. As rumors spread, other cursed videos surfaced in online forums. Each account mixed with a blend of awe and terror. One guy, Mitch, shared his experience of a supposed wailing woman. The video was barely viewed before it mysteriously disappeared from every platform. He described it as a screaming cascade of anguish, a sound that felt like it tore into his soul. Then he got a new phone. The video somehow transferred, reappearing in his gallery. Blood ran cold in his veins, not from fear but disbelief. How? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. But the peaks of terror were just warming up. The Forgotten Room filmed an empty house where viewers could swear they saw a door open just a crack. It was small, but many reported an intense chill creeping in, with a sudden longing to know what lay beyond. Curiosity mixed dangerously with dread. The house may have been empty, but it was haunted by something darker than just shadows. People didn't just get curious. They lost themselves in that vision, as if trying to step into another reality, promising them more horror than they could ever handle. Did they endure a curse just by watching, or did they open something up? With each encounter, the air thickened. The chilling question remained: what do these videos truly unleash upon the souls of the unsuspecting? With each glitch and flicker, was it just an illusion or an invitation to something much worse? A dread crawled up their spines when, suddenly, someone mentioned a video that seemed to claim lives. Would anyone dare to watch again? The nervous buzz in the chat rooms grew louder. Footage of these fateful encounters fanned out like wildfire. People swarmed, believing they could exchange their experiences and avoid the sinister touch of these cursed videos. But one name kept rising above the rest: the Grinning Man. Reports said he lingered in the shadows, a figure creeping into frame, a grin that seemed too wide, too sharp. One viewer claimed to have seen him step out from the depths of their screen, not just as a ghostly image, but as something real, solid, and horrifyingly alive. "You can't look away," they posted, foreheads slick from sweat. "When you see him, he has already seen you." Fear rippled through the community. What happens if you see him? They talked in hushed tones, speculating on disappearances and anxiety attacks following his appearance. The grinning man didn't just want to haunt you. He hungered to consume you mind and soul. Curiosity, as always, proved to be a fickle friend. Avery, a curious high school student, loved her ghost stories, and she had to know. So, one fateful night, armed with a bowl of popcorn and a sense of bravado, she clicked the link. The screen flickered to life. Tension seized her chest as the dark figures began to emerge. There, in the backdrop, the grin appeared, stretching wider with each flicker. "Just a video," she muttered. "It's all fake." But doubt gnawed at her. The sound was oddly quiet, an unsettling stillness shattered only by the sharp creaks of the floorboards beneath her. She craned her neck, half hoping something was behind her, something to confirm her suspicions. And then, there it was, a glimmer of something or someone in the dimly lit corner of her bedroom. Sweat trickled down her back. The video grew darker, shadowing out her courage. Could she turn it off? Just like that? The urge was overpowering, pulling her closer with each second. She pressed replay. A mistake she would soon regret. The grin flashed, and suddenly, the room felt colder. A monstrous chill swept over her, filling the air with dread. Avery gripped the edge of her seat as the screen pixelated, and the grinning man's face filled her monitor. His eyes seemed to bore into hers, an invisible thread tugging between them. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears, drowning out everything else. Then darkness. The screen flickered between images of her own room and the specter's unsettling grin. Just as she thought she was losing herself to panic, the light returned, exposing an empty chair in the corner. "Good night, Avery," a whisper trailed from the glitch, breathy and chilling, like wind rustling through leaves. Something wasn't right. She turned to face sharp shadows lurking at the periphery of her vision, and the grin lingered, waiting to unleash whatever torment lay ahead. Heart racing, she yanked open her door and stumbled into the hall, desperate for air, desperate for escape. She'd barely made it down the stairs when her phone buzzed in her pocket, reminding her that the video was just on her computer. It had transferred. What lurked in her gallery? Panic invaded her thoughts. As she glimpsed back up the stairs, the shadow had shifted slightly. She needed answers. But would they come too late? In a world delving into madness, the question loomed larger than ever. What happens when the line between reality and horror becomes something you can't escape? The answer lurked just behind her, and it was hungry. Avery's heart pounded like a drum in her chest, an urgent rhythm pushing her to move faster. She raced to the living room, the shadows clinging to the corners of her vision as she swatted her phone from her pocket. With trembling fingers, she opened her gallery, praying that whatever darkness had seeped from the video would remain confined to her computer. Her breath hitched as she saw it, thumbnails filled with static, images flickering like malfunctioning lights. The darkest one, however, was unmistakably the grinning man. His haunting smile stretched across the screen, black eyes gleaming with hunger. No, she breathed, the reality crashing down on her. Each tap to enlarge the images sent sparks of electricity through her fingertips. She cursed herself for clicking that link, for stirring the malevolence from its slumber. Just a video, she muttered again, trying to push the fear away. But each moment she stayed still felt like a tether to something sinister. The screen flickered, and as if in response to her thoughts, the grinning man's image morphed into something grotesque. It twisted, distorting, as if trying to break free from the confines of the digital realm. Avery's skin prickled. She was safe, not for one more second. With adrenaline coursing through her blood, she shoved her phone into her back pocket and bolted for the front door, the echo of her footsteps fading behind her. Outside was darkness, but it was a comfort. She could hear the rustling of branches, the soft lapping of the wind against the house, a reminder she was still in the world of the living. But there was something wrong. A pair of headlights flicked on in the distance, drawing her unwavering gaze. The sudden brightness illuminated the trees, casting long shadows across the ground. Just then, her phone buzzed again. Ignoring it felt impossible. She pulled it from her pocket, heart skipping as she saw a notification pull her in like an unseen force. The grinning man has sent you a message. A chilling laugh echoed in her mind, replaying the whisper from the video, "Good night, Avery." Panic clawed at the edges of her sanity. With trembling hands, she opened the message. It was a snapshot of her sitting in the living room, her terrified features lit by the glow of the screen. She was being watched. Fear morphed into something primal, a surge of energy pushing her to run. The blackness of the night enveloped her as she dashed down the street, the pounding of her heart drowning out the distant noise of a slamming door behind her. She looked back in a desperate attempt to see what might pursue her, but it was all shadows, the darkness clinging to the corners of her vision, seeping into her mind. Suddenly, the world seemed to shift. A cacophony of voices filled the air, others just like her, lured into the dark web of horror, drawn by the same insatiable curiosity. They fled toward the streetlights, faces marked with shock and confusion. A group emerged from the mist, all eyes wide and darting. "What did you see?" One voice shouted, desperation unmasked. Avery opened her mouth to respond, but a chill swept over her. The shadows bent and twisted, coiling around each square of light. The grin reappeared in her mind, vivid and dreadful. "What happens when he wants you?" The thought crept in, unhindered by reason. A figure loomed at the edge of the group, a shadow detached from the night itself. It was undeniable now. The grinning man was coming. The streetlights flickered one by one. As Avery stood frozen between her fear and the reality closing in, she realized something was needed: an escape, an answer, a way to fight back. But how could she confront a horror that thrived on terror? Adrift in a sea of uncertainty, knowing escape was slipping through her fingers, she called to the others, "We need to get together. We can't face this alone." But as her desperate shout echoed out, the darkness gathered, ready to snatch away anyone who dared cross paths with it. Would the light save them, or was it just a trap? The question loomed, as palpable as the smile of the man, remaining just beyond reach, and time was running out. Avery's voice held a tremor, caught between urgency and dread, as she shouted to the gathered group. They had to move. The others turned, their faces aglow with the bright light, and shadow warping around them. Strange expressions flitted across their features: confusion, fear, and a flicker of dark curiosity. One girl, her hair wild and frizzy, as if she'd just woken from a nightmare, stepped forward. "We can't just run. What if that thing is waiting for us?" "He already knows we're here," a boy piped up, his hands shaking as he clutched his phone like a talisman against the dark. The weight of his words hung in the air. Avery's heart sank deeper. They were all connected to the cursed video, each of them a voyeur in their own peril. She could feel it, the tendrils of despair creeping toward them, wrapping around their ankles like thick vines. "We have to do something." As if in response, a sharp click echoed in the distance. They turned to see a shadow detach itself from the trees, the darker-than-night figure looming taller than any of them. The grinning man stepped forward, his smile impossibly wide, jaw unhinging in a way it shouldn't, a grotesque mockery of joy. A shudder washed over the group, panic seeping through their last reserve of courage. "Together!" Avery shouted, grasping at her fading hope. "We can figure this out." Minutes felt like hours as the figure loomed closer. A confrontation with the abomination felt inevitable. She caught a glimpse of others, their eyes wide, mouths agape in shock. The grinning man's laugh, high-pitched and distorted, echoed through the empty street, mingling with the rustling leaves and distant murmurs of the city. "What do we do?" another girl cried, her voice mingling with sobs. No one had answers. The message on Avery's phone flared in her mind like a beacon, she was being watched. They all were. Maybe we can record him back, Avery said, zest dripping from her voice as if grasping at straws thrown into a tempest. If we film him, maybe it will counter the curse or something? Are you crazy? The boy shouted. We can't provoke him. But we're doing nothing, she shot back, the fire sparking in her chest. Facing away from the looming darkness, Avery rallied them. We need to stand in the light. Get your phones out. In a moment of reckless defiance, the group, paralyzed by dread, turned their phones toward the grinning man. The screen illuminated the dark figure, showing just enough to reveal the glare in his empty eyes, void of empathy, full of hunger. Captured in the harsh light, he paused, grinning wider as if savoring the moment of their despair. Fingers shook as they pressed record, fear mingling with adrenaline. For a heartbeat, the world slowed down. The streetlights flickered again, the air electric with tension. And then, the figure lunged, vanishing from sight only to reappear in an instant, each movement an unsettling twist of limbs and shadow. The laughter echoed around them, taunting and ancient, causing the very ground to tremble beneath their feet. A frantic voice pierced through the chaos. What did he want? At that moment, something shifted in Avery's mind. The video, she whispered, panic flooding her thoughts. He just want us, he wanted to keep us watching. The group stared, realization dawning, but it came too late. The grinning man surged toward them, his body expanding, merging into the darkness. A sense of doom rushed over the group. Avery felt the rumble in her chest intensify with fear. Just as she thought they might be swallowed whole, the light from the phones flickered and shot beams into the deepening gloom. It barely held back the tide of shadows. Keep filming, Avery shouted, gripping her phone tight. A surge of defiance pushed her forward. We can't let him win. As the figure continued to dart in and out of their sight, something unexpected happened. A harsh, blaring noise cut through the laughter, sudden and blinding. The sound came from Avery's phone, a notification. A new message, a video link. The screen glitched for a moment, then stilled on a new thumbnail. The grinning man is waiting, don't open it. She screamed, but it was too late. Curiosity sparked a collective, dangerous interest in her companion's eyes. The grinning man's laughter rolled deeper, harmonizing with their confusion. The group teetered on the edge of madness, and as they turned to the haunting sound, the shadows danced around them, thicker than ever. They were at a precipice, teetering toward an abyss, and the weight of horror settled in. What awaited them on the other side of that message? Would they find salvation or damnation? All eyes were drawn to the phone, and Avery realized they were all in more danger than she ever imagined. The crowd held its breath, tension prickling the air like static electricity. Avery's heart raced as she fought to keep her voice steady. No! Don't let him get into your heads. But the allure of the video was undeniable. The thumbnail flickered on the screen, promising secrets and fears wrapped in its glossy image. One by one, she saw eyes gloss over. Caught in the web, the grinning man had spun a siren's call to the dark curiosity that dwelled in every heart. Open it! Just open it! A boy whispered, nearly delirious with fear and fascination. Stop! Avery barked, her throat tightening with desperation. If we watch it, we're agreeing to the curse. We can't. Before she could finish, someone reached out, trembling fingers tapping the screen. Time hung heavy, the world around them blurring into a backdrop of shadows and whispers. The screen lit up, and the moment the video began to play, a grotesque image flashed before them. The grinning man, now contorted in a disturbing dance, moving as though he defied the laws of nature. His eyes, black as the abyss, bore into their souls. The echoes of his laughter rang like sharp bells, filling the space with a sinister melody. Terrified gasps rippled through the group as they stumbled backward, instinctively trying to shield themselves from the horror eating away at their sanity. "No!" Avery screamed, her lungs burning. "Put it down. Get out of here." But it was too late. The grinning man's form erupted from the screen, spilling forth a torrent of darkness that wrapped around them like a suffocating shroud. People shrieked, their phones clattering to the ground, but the light from the screens couldn't fend off the consuming shadow. Lights around them flickered, plunging the street into a strobe-like chaos. The grinning man twisted through the air, laughter rising and falling like a thunderous wave, overwhelming in its malevolence. Each time he disappeared, only to reappear inches from their terrified faces, his grin stretching wider, teeth like daggers, hunger radiating from him. Avery felt it in her gut, a raw twist of fear and dread. She needed them to fight. "Stand together," she shouted, her voice strained yet fierce. "Turn on all your lights. Shine them on him." Half conscious in fear, they fumbled with their phones while she pressed her own screen to record the chaos, desperate to document their fight against the impending doom. The grinning man shifted again, elongating as if the darkness had given him additional strength. And just when it seemed he would lunge, another blast of sound erupted from Avery's phone. The notification ping was deafening against the backdrop of chaos. "What now?" someone shrieked. "Not another video," Avery cried. But curiosity clawed at them. They pulled their eyes from the source of danger to glance at the new screen. Another link. Another fleeting chance to understand. "Don't," she pleaded, but the spell of intrigue was too strong. They were rooted, tongues biting back the words of caution. Click. In an instant, a new video popped up, revealing something shocking. Images of others who had been devoured by the grinning man, faces twisted in terror, eyes wide, mouths stretched in silent screams. The realization hit like ice flooding their veins. "They're all connected to him just like us." One voice trembled in disbelief. With that, the air thickened as the grinning man sweated from the screen, his laughter now mingling with the shouts and cries. "Help!" someone screamed, the panic fracturing their solidarity. Through the din, Avery felt her resolve crumbling. Fear clawed at her throat. The grinning man lunged, shaking the ground beneath them. Shadows whipped around them like a vortex, spinning closer as screams echoed louder. It became impossible to tell who was speaking, who was screaming, who was truly terrified. It was no longer just an image on a screen. They were part of a twisted game with no way out. Avery's voice cut through the chaos. "We need to find the source. The original video." But how could they find it when mere shadows threatened to consume them whole? The darkness surged, and a light flickered. Hope? Or distraction? The group fell silent, all drawn to the single point of brightness amidst the dark. Avery felt it in her chest, a possibility, a way to reclaim their choice. But the price would be heavy to pay. "Do we dare to chase the light?" she whispered, eyes fixated on the glow, while the grinning man circled closer, each heartbeat thumping like a warning drum. Would they confront the source of their fear, or be engulfed by the shadows? As courage quaked beneath their skin, their next move felt like it could seal their fates forever. Who would walk into the light, and who would be swallowed by darkness? The question loomed, thick like fog, as dread squeezed at their hearts. Avery's pulse surged louder than the frantic voices of fear around her. They were all standing on the precipice of insanity, caught between a shimmering light that beckoned like a lifeline and the dark, swirling mass that threatened to consume them whole. She could see the trembles in their limbs, hear their shallow breaths mingling with the ominous laughter of the grinning man. "This way," Avery shouted, gripping a friend's arm as she started toward the flickering brightness. Each step felt heavier, as though the shadows were trying to pull her back, clawing at her mind with memories of those twisted faces. She could already hear their silent screams echoing in her head. "Are you crazy?" someone whimpered, rooted to the spot. That light could be a trap. It's our only chance, she replied, her voice laced with a frantic desperation. If we don't try now, we'll lose our minds trying to escape this horror. Just then, a harsh gust of wind whipped through them, distorted laughter twisting around like cruel fingers. The grinning man lunged forward, inching closer with his grotesque glee, drawing on their dread. The very air thickened, crackling with tension. Several faces began to move toward the light, hesitant but willing. Avery could see the flicker of hope igniting behind their fearful gazes. Together, they forged ahead, a band of reluctant warriors bound by terror. As they approached the light, it expanded, revealing an ancient, towering tree entwined with shimmering vines, pulsating like a heartbeat. The leaves danced as if whispering secrets that dared them to listen, to unlock the truth hidden within. "What is this place?" a girl asked, glancing around as though expecting the grinning man to leap from the shadows. "I don't know," Avery replied, her heart racing as she examined the intricate carvings on the tree's bark. It seemed to tell a story of darkness and light, of the grinning man, and those who had tried to escape his grasp. "But we have to find the original video. It's the key to ending this nightmare." Suddenly, a laugh erupted behind them, chilling their bones. The grinning man had found a way to break through the layers of darkness, shifting shapes as he danced into light. His movements were hypnotic, a cruel mockery of their hope, twisting and writhing, beckoning them back to despair. Avery focused on the glowing tree, its light intensifying. What if the answers were hidden there? She stepped closer, reaching out to touch the glossy surface of the bark. Just as her fingers made contact, the ground trembled violently, shaking the very foundation beneath them. "Do you feel that?" someone cried, eyes wide with terror. "Quick! Everyone, hold on to something," Avery ordered, heart pounding, feeling the weight of every moment pressing down on them. As they clasped hands together, forming a chain of vulnerable flesh against the chaos, they bridged to the brightness, creating a small sanctuary against the encroaching shadows. The laughter twisted around them, echoing madness until all they could hear was the pounding of their hearts in sync. The tree began to glow brighter, illuminating faces, shadows retreating for the first time. Avery felt the warmth wash over them, but doubt crept in. Was it an illusion? A figure emerged from the light, distinct yet shrouded in mystery, beckoning as if to guide them deeper. "Follow me," the figure whispered, voice soothing yet firm. "But what if it's just another trap?" one of her friends whispered back, shaking. "We have to take the risk. Remember what we've seen?" Avery urged, holding her ground. "We can't stay here, swept up by the terror. We need to confront the truth." As the group teetered on the edge of decision, the grinning man lunged again, his impossibly wide grin a twisted promise of terror. They had to move. With one last glance at their frightened faces, Avery yelled, "Into the light! We're breaking this curse together!" And at that moment, they leaped into the unknown, a collective heartbeat racing toward whatever awaited them, hope and fear mingling in a dance as they plunged deeper into the light. But as they crossed the threshold, a chilling realization gripped Avery's heart. What if the light was just another illusion? The ground shook, their surroundings spinning into madness as they plunged into the very core of the mystery. The roar of the grinning man echoed behind them, and she wondered, would the truth set them free, or would it bind them to terror forever? The moment they stumbled into the blinding light, the world around them shifted violently, like reality itself was tearing at the seams. Avery's feet barely touched the ground as she fell through a whirlpool of dazzling brilliance and clashing shadows. "Hold on!" someone screamed. The chain of hands tightened, their trust fraying with every beat of their racing hearts. Avery fought against the rising panic. Would this be deliverance or an ultimate betrayal? Suddenly, the light flickered, revealing a vision of events Alex had never been prepared to confront. Memories blasted through her mind, faces contorted in terror. Their screams echoed in her ears, loud and unrelenting. She fought to focus, trying to quell the tidal wave of horror that crashed over her. Is this real? One voice wavered, trembling with doubt. Dread dripped from the words like venom, and Avery knew she couldn't let it spread. Are we still in his game? The glowing figure in front of them solidified, a shadowed outline forming into what seemed like a girl no older than Avery. Her features were soft, yet an unearthly shimmer surrounded her. You're not safe yet, she warned, her voice echoing like a haunting bell. To break the curse, you'll have to face your fears, each one of you. Fears? What kind of fears? A boy's voice quivered with anger and frustration. This isn't the time for riddles. Your own. The grinning man has fed on your doubts and insecurities. Only when you confront them can you find what you're looking for. Avery's heart raced. Could they really confront what haunted them? Memories of her past brushed against her like cold breath, and she steeled herself. She had to do this. For herself and for the others. The tree pulsated around them, roots writhing like snakes. Suddenly, a powerful voice boomed from all directions, vibrating through the air, sending chills down their spines. To your fears you must go, little ones. Face they shall, or forever bound to despair. Before she could react, the brilliant light engulfed them once more. Avery felt the ground vanish beneath her, and just like that, she was standing alone in a dark, twisted reflection of the forest. A chilling silence enveloped her, laying heavy in the air. "Hello?" she called, but her voice echoed back, warped and sinister. Shadows shifted, and the eyes of her friends flickered in the dark, each frozen in their own battle. "Let us stick together, everyone," she shouted, trying to rally their strength. Footsteps echoed in rhythm with her heartbeat, an ominous march of uncertainty creeping closer. She turned to find the girl from the light fading into shadows, her gentle eyes now replaced with a wicked grin. "Face your own darkness, Avery," the voice taunted, dripping with malice. Suddenly, a figure lunged out of the shadows. It was her, a twisted version of herself, consumed by fear, insecurities morphing her face, features exaggerated to the extreme. Avery stumbled backward, her breath hitching as the replica grinned a wide, hideous smile. "No, I am not afraid," she insisted, her voice cracking. But deep inside, she felt the truth. Doubt clawed at her mind, and the memories swirled like autumn leaves caught in a storm. "Are you not?" the reflection hissed, stepping closer. "You chase me away, but I am always here, lurking in your mind. Now you must face me." She felt the air grow heavy with tension, the shadows wrapping around her limbs, pulling her deeper into the confrontation. As her heart raced, a voice echoed softly from the distance, her friends calling her name. "Avery! We need you! Fight, Avery! Fight!" But how could she fight a part of herself? She raised her hands instinctively, trembling, unsure if she was ready for this battle. Would she shatter the darkness, or would it consume her whole? As the figure lunged, teeth bared, Avery braced herself, the outcome hanging precariously in the balance. Could she confront her past and pave a way to freedom? Or would she remain trapped in this twisted nightmare forever? The figure lunged forward, the grotesque smile stretching impossibly wide as it closed the distance between them. Avery felt her heart pound violently in her chest, a wild drumbeat that echoed in her ears, drowning out logical thoughts. "Get away from me," she shouted, voice trembling, but deep down, a spark of fear ignited. This twisted version of herself was everything she'd tried to shun, everything she feared would surface if she ever let her guard down. Avery's surroundings began to warp. The dark forest twisted into a haunting collage of memories. The taunts of classmates, the shame of being left out, the crushing weight of expectations. Each recollection alive with vivid clarity, each voice a blade slicing through her defenses. "Why run from me?" the reflection hissed, closing in with a predatory grace. I am not just a part of you, I am you. You can't escape your own shadow. Avery stepped back, the ground shifting unnaturally beneath her feet as brambles sprouted like angry fingers. She stumbled against a twisted trunk that pulsed with malevolent energy, reminding her of the weight of every doubt she ever struggled against. It felt impossible to breathe. The panic rose like a tide. Face your fears. Came the echo of her friends' voices, muffled yet fierce, permeating through the dread. Avery squeezed her eyes shut, two worlds battling for dominance, the reality she wanted to hold onto, bright and inviting, and this dark universe that sought to consume her. With a surge of determination, Avery opened her eyes. I will not live in your shadow, she declared, her voice no longer wavering but cutting through the silence like a beacon. The twisted figure paused, surprise flickering across its grotesque features. You think you can escape? You're nothing without me. Stop lying, Avery shouted, energy swelling within her. I am more than my fears. I'm more than this twisted reflection. With each word, the shadows seemed to tighten, sparks of anger igniting in them. But she felt something shift inside her, a warmth, a flicker of hope breaking through the icy grip of despair. To confront your fears, the voice whispered, now tinged with desperation, is to invite suffering. You cannot fight what is destined to be yours. Avery felt clutches of terror release their hold, an ounce of clarity bursting forth. But I can choose how to face them. I can be stronger. Just like that, the twisted version hesitated, confusion etching onto its face. The shadows around them whispered in agitation, swirling like a storm. Avery took a step closer, fueled by newfound courage. Tell me what you fear, she demanded, as if addressing that part of herself directly. What is it that you want? Acknowledgement? Acceptance? Silence fell. The other version mirrored her movements, caught in an eternal loop of doubt. Avery's heart raced, not with fear now, but with fierce resolution. As she stood tall before her darker self, she felt an undeniable connection, a fragile understanding that echoed through the air. I know you're scared. Avery softened, her voice becoming a soothing melody against the harshness of their surroundings. We can face this together. These fears don't define us. The figure's facade cracked for the first time, the expression warping into something less monstrous, less cruel. The shadows began to flicker, retreating slowly, as if unsure how to react. But just as Avery felt the grip of victory, a looming shadow loomed over her a heartbeat away. A new figure emerged from the darkness. This one, cloaked in dread, sparked fear deeper than before. Its face was an unmoving mask of malice, eyes empty and observing. Fascinating, it purred, chilling every bone in her body. But this is far from over, little girl. Avery's heart sank. They had only begun to touch the surface of their fears, but now a greater danger danced just beyond her reach. Fight or flee, girl? The cold voice echoed, as it enveloped the spaces between them, a whisper of what was to come. Could she muster the strength to face this monstrosity while haunted by the past? Would her resolve against the twisted visage of her own fears be enough to keep her friends safe? The answer felt elusive, the silence thickening as shadows grinned with anticipation. What more would she have to confront, and could she still find a way to save them? The stakes were higher than ever. Avery stood her ground, the air crackling with tension, as the figure loomed over her, a towering presence of dread. Its eyes were black holes, endless voids that seemed to suck the very light from the air. She clenched her fists, feeling her nails bite into her palms, grounding her in the present even as everything inside her screamed to take flight. Why do you cower? The figure's voice slithered through her mind, like venom tracing down her spine. You know deep down that you can never escape. Avery's breath quickened. You don't get to decide who I am, she shot back, voice stronger than she felt. Each word was a lifeline cast into turbulent waters. The cursed figure's smile widened, grotesque and mocking. "Oh, but I do. I am the fear that lurks in every corner of your mind, the doubt that festers when no one else is around. You can't pretend I don't exist." It reached toward her, clawed fingers elongating, stretching like shadows hungry for her flesh. Avery pivoted on her heel, adrenaline pumping through her veins, propelling her deeper into the twisted forest. Every tree, every shadow, hummed with a dark invitation. They whispered secrets of despair, memories that wrapped around her like roots, threatening to drag her down. But she pushed on, fueled by the remnants of hope that flickered within. As she dashed forward, the memories grew louder, echoes of laughter turned to jeers, faces of friends turning into expressions of disdain. The ground beneath her shifted, writhing like a wounded beast. She stumbled, nearly losing her footing as thorny vines lashed out, wrapping around her ankles, pulling her down. "Embrace your pain," the figure called from behind, taunting. "Suffering is a part of you." "No!" Avery gasped, wrestling against the living brambles, breathing heavily. There was a moment, just a moment, where she thought of giving in, of letting the darkness consume her. But then she saw her friends' faces, bright and unwavering, urging her to rise. Their laughter filled her heart, bursting through the fog of despair. With a surge of strength, she tore her legs free. "I want to be your prisoner," she yelled, shaking off the doubt, drawing from deep within the warmth of acceptance mixed with fierce desire to reclaim her spirit. The figure, now just behind her, recoiled. "You think you can resist? I will always be here waiting." "No!" Avery slammed her palm against the nearest tree. The bark cracked beneath her touch, sending ripples through the air like waves against a shore. "You're just a fragment of my past. You can't hold me back anymore." The shadows writhed in response. A rumble broke out, an almost sentient fury that vibrated through the air, causing the forest to shudder. Brambles retracted, loosening their hold as the malignant figure screamed, a high-pitched wail that echoed through the trees, marred with rage and disbelief. And then, there it was, a bright sliver of light piercing through the darkness, a fragile ray only she could see. It beckoned to her, a promise of hope against the suffocating grip of fear. "Follow it." The echoes of her friends rang out, louder now. "It's not over yet, but you can still fight." Just as she gathered herself to move towards the light, the ground trembled violently beneath her once more, and from within the shadows, an even darker figure emerged, a silhouette shaped by betrayal, carrying all her deepest regrets and lingering sorrow. "No matter how deep you push me back, I will always return. You cannot erase me," it hissed, its voice haunting and familiar. Avery froze, her heart pounding, the potential for defeat flooding her mind. Facing dual nightmares, how could she possibly stand against them both? Could the light she glimpsed give her the strength she needed, or was she doomed to be engulfed in shadows forever? The answer lingered in the air, a question she needed to unravel. What waited for her in this darkness, and could she gather her shattered courage before it was too late? Avery's breath hitched as the new figure loomed larger, a dark reflection of her inner turmoil. "I see you're still trying to fight," it taunted, a grim smile creeping across its face. It felt like a knife twisting in her gut. "But do you really have the strength?" The shadows thickened around her, wrapping like chains. Memories flooded her mind, the moments of doubt, failure, and fear. Each one clawed at her spirit, threatening to pull her deeper into despair. She could feel the darkness tugging at her, desperate to swallow her whole. But deep down, a flicker of light still burned. "I'm done letting you define me," Avery shouted, her voice breaking through the chaos, solid and clear. The light she glimpsed felt closer now, shimmering like a beacon of hope. "You are not my master." Driven by a newfound determination, she summoned every ounce of strength within her. She raised her hands, channeling her fear into a wall of defiance. The figures paused, sketching uncertainty across their wicked faces as the vibrant light around Avery intensified. "Enough!" she roared, channeling the very essence of her memories, the good and the bad. Joy mingled with sadness, courage mingled with pain, each moment a thread woven into her being. "I choose to embrace you. You won't control me any longer." A wave of warmth surged through her, wrapping around her like an armor of light. The shadows writhed around her, battling against the bright force emerging from her heart. Avery stepped forward, feeling herself rising above the dark grasp that sought to consume her. Light pierced the hollow corners of her mind, illuminating the monstrous versions of herself. They began to flicker, shadows fading as she faced down her fears with acceptance. "You are parts of me. You were once my enemies, yes, but you are also my teachers. I choose to learn from you." With every word spoken, the darkness melted. The grotesque figures unraveled, disintegrating into wisps of black smoke swirling into nothingness. There was a fleeting moment of silence, and Avery felt the weight lift from her shoulders. She was free. As if confirming her victory, the glowing tree pulsed with radiant light, enveloping the space around her. The shadows shrunk, hissing in retreat, and along with them, the haunting laughter of the grinning man grew distant. Avery spun around, eyes wide with hope as her friends emerged from the depths of darkness, their faces appearing more alive and vibrant than she had ever seen. They had faced their own shadows, too, and the air around them filled with their triumph. "We did it!" someone exclaimed, overwhelmed with disbelief. "We're free." But the celebration was cut short when a chilling whisper drifted through the remnants of the darkness. "You may have won this battle, but remember, a part of me always remains." It echoed around them, sending shivers up their spines. "Let him go," Avery said firmly, her eyes unwavering. "He is just a shadow. He can't hurt us if we don't let him." The light around them blazed brighter, pushing the remaining shadows to the edges until they vanished. With every pulse, the glowing tree whispered promises of healing and strength, a reminder of their journey, a journey that would continue beyond this fate. It was time to reclaim the light, to finally embrace their true selves. Together, the group linked arms, a united front against whatever waited beyond this realm of terror. "We've broken the curse," another friend whispered with relief, eyes shimmering. "What comes next is ours to choose." And with that choice, they stepped forward into the unknown, leaving shadows and fear behind as they ventured into the embrace of the warm, welcoming light. The weight of terror slipped off their shoulders, a burden lifted. The grinning man was no longer a threat, just a fading echo of what was. Their adventure had changed them, weaving courage into the very fabric of their beings. This was not the end, but a new beginning, one where they learned to harness their fears into strength, united against anything darkness could throw their way. They would share their stories, spread the truth about the cursed videos, and guard others against the whisperings of shadows that lurked in the corners. With hearts alight with hope, they walked onward, the dawning sunrise painting the sky bright against the blanket of night, a testament to their survival, to their bond. The digital realms of horror might emerge again, but this time, they weren't just passive observers. They were warriors armed with the knowledge that courage could illuminate even the darkest corners, and together, they would face whatever may come next. And as they moved forward into a brighter future, a new thread of destiny began to weave itself before them, promising endless possibilities illuminated by the strength they found in one another. So, if you're watching this, know that courage lies in facing your fears. Embrace them like Avery did. Remember that the light always prevails against darkness. Now, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will have you at the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and let everyone see this powerful journey. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Your insights matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends, who need to see this conclusion. True fans know the power of supporting the channel.